how to accept the other person's decision is the topic that I think many humanitarians that I coach with keep having and trying to solve, especially in love relationships. And I just coached a client on this topic as well, where leaving a relationship, even though you are still in love with the person, but your future visions are very different, your commitment level to the relationship are very different, and you feel like this is not how you want to lead the relationship or how to build the future. And you know that the other person could make a decision to commit to this relationship, but for whatever reason, they're not able to or they don't want to. And how do you accept that decision? That's what I want to talk about. So, this happens quite often, especially in transitioning period. It feels like everything falling apart, or it feels like everything is coming together. On the one hand, trying to figure out what to do and how to do with the job market and with the job itself, and then having to deal with very big relationship changes in your personal life. And I have noticed this from several of my clients that they have difficulty accepting their partner's decision, right? So maybe they had several years of relationship and they loved it and they see the future of the relationship as the very committed relationship, possibly with having children as well. And then the other part of the story, the partner does not want to commit the same way that my clients desire, or they don't see commitment in this way. And then it feels like my clients then feel they need to either keep swallowing their own values of how they want to build relationships and keep going, or stick to their values of commitment and end the relationship, right? And in the ending of that relationship, it becomes so hard to accept the partner who they love so much is not willing to commit in the way that they want to, even though they could have, and they're not doing it. And as I coached this client today, I was getting her see from her perspective. She feels if I want something, I choose to keep going to that direction. In the partner's case, he seemed to want this as well, but he believes he can't, or he believes he is threatened, or he's afraid of committing this way. Right? In such situations, then it becomes so difficult to accept that decision or that unwillingness. And my clients then tell me how much they're suffering, right? Because they feel like the partner could have committed. They feel like they're angry as to how they didn't change their mind about it, and they spend so much time in the relationship that they thought they're building the future, but then it turns out they're not. And then there is still a hope that what if he will change, or he or she, right, will change their mind, and then they will come back. And that hope keeps my clients feel suffer in that relationship, or they have difficulty ending the relationship and they have difficulty moving on to something else. So knowing that hope and somehow things will change, or somehow we'll be able to make them change their minds, or somehow if we keep at it something will happen, will keep us suffering, knowing that, then the question becomes, how do you accept their decision, even though, because we're hoping, we believe that it's not their decision. We believe that they can't do something with it. So, in other words, we are buying to their story of how they can change anything about it, or they have difficulty changing, so therefore they can't do anything about it. And then we keep hoping that they will. And that hope keeps the inacceptance going, right? So, what I was coaching my client on today is I was asking her, is there a way to accept that he wants but he's not able, or he does not want to? And then she was telling me, well, if you say he's not able, I can accept. But if you say he doesn't want to, I have difficulty accepting that, right? So I feel very like uncomfortable about it. And I hear that, right? Because we don't want the other person that we love so much to be not choosing us, or to be choosing not to solve that problem to be with us. So that feels very hurtful. So therefore we were exploring how she can accept, she can accept her own values that she wants to pursue, and she can accept his decision that either he's not able to, or he's, even if he's not able to, he's not willing to solve that. And my client was telling me, well, how do I accept it, right? How do I just tell myself I'm accepting and it will happen? And I was telling her maybe that will not work, because she's going through a lot of suffering currently. But I was suggesting to her, what if you at least don't keep the inner fighting going? And that inner fighting is something like, well, he could have done this, he could have changed if he wanted to, why didn't he? I don't understand. All of these fights keep the suffering going. So I suggested to her to notice when you are in that fighting moment, and in your inner world, right? When you are fighting inside, then at least put your hands in your chest area, heart area, wherever it feels turmoily, and keep breathing intentionally until you are in the present moment, instead of being in the past or in the future. And once you get to a bit of a calm place, deep breathe, and then remind yourself that you don't want to go into those fights anymore. You don't want to go into it should have, he should have, I should have, all of this. Tell yourself you don't do that anymore. You don't go into those fights anymore, because it doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't solve anything, because there is no way to solve the situation just because we keep reminding or rewinding in our brains, he could have, she could have, and all of this. So at least first step would be find ways, or bring your awareness to stop the fighting inside. And once you start realizing that you don't have this fight anymore, then you can go and decide what to do. Right? So, as long as we keep the fight going, then we keep suffering. And as long as we are suffering, we're not letting go of the past, meaning we're not following through our decision. And if we're not following through our decision, we can't move into the future. And as hard as it absolutely is, know that you have that ability to get yourself to the current moment, to the presence, and then get yourself to see that you keep fighting inside is not going to help you in any way except keep making you suffer. And once you start processing through and stopping the fighting, that's already the initial stage of acceptance. And then you can decide what to do. Okay, my dears, if you're going through several transitioning, like my clients, the work transitioning, the personal relationship transitioning, and maybe even health transitioning, maybe any other transitioning, if there is a way I can support you, let me know. Sending you all my love and have a good week.